What is up, fellas? Welcome to another Minecraft Let's Play. Today I'll be talking about the States Experiment Season 2, which I participated in. I think it's a really cool concept, and I'll explain what it is a little bit later on. But I think it's a pretty cool concept. Obviously, I think it's cool because I played in the second season of it, and honestly, it was pretty fun. I didn't really get to do much, and I'll tell you why later. But honestly, I still think it's fun. If you just want a rating of it straight up, I would say gameplay wise, it was like a 7.5 out of 10, like a 7.5 out of 10. Yeah, maybe a 7 out of 10, something like that. I think the video is going to be a 10 out of 10, though. I think the issues is probably going to be able to make something amazing out of the stuff that the players did in the event. But just gameplay wise, I had a little bit of fun, even though even though I didn't do a lot, and even though I probably won't be featured in the video. I think it was still really fun and and I had a silly time goofing around, so it's all fine in games. But anyway, the State Season 2 experiment is this silly, goofy little Minecraft experiment hosted by a YouTuber called Ish13C. And the first season released like a year ago. The second season, or not, yeah, the first episode, I guess, of the first season released a year ago. The second episode of the first season also released a year ago, and the third episode of the first season also released a year ago. And actually, I think each episode is actually supposed to be its own season because each episode is like a film in its own right. But the thing is that each season was supposed to be like each season was kind of supposed to be like players on islands surviving and seeing what they will do. That's supposed to be like each season. But since it was taking too long for Ish to go from season 1 to season 2, he decided to post like mini seasons in between. So he posted like season 1, then season 1.5, and season 1.7. And right now, we're in the season 2 arc. So yeah, this thing that we played is the season 2 States Experiment, and this happened last summer, by the way. So I took quite a long time to talk about this, but yeah, this whole States Experiment thing happened last summer, and I was in Europe at the time, so I had to stay up until very very late in order to play in the server. But I still think it was a lot of fun. And yeah, basically the States Experiment is, as I said, a server. It's like an experiment that lasts for like 2 weeks, and the experiment is hosted by a YouTuber called Ish13C, and he basically makes a Minecraft server with 4 islands. There's Desert Island, Jungle Island, Plains Island, and Snow Island. And in this newest version, there was also like some little what's it called? Some little like soul island in the middle, which you could visit, and you had like really good loot, like golden apples and diamonds and netherite and all that stuff. And yeah, it was pretty cool. And by the way, before I continue any further, I would just like to let you guys know that this video obviously contains spoilers. So if you don't want to see any spoilers, get the fuck out of here. But anyway, for you guys that don't really care about spoilers, here's the thing. So yeah, as I was saying, this whole thing took place on a server with 4 islands, and there were 1,000 players, and those 1,000 players were split evenly between the 4 islands, and they could do whatever they want. They could do pretty much whatever they want, except they couldn't random kill people. Like if you actually want to fight a person, you have to have a reason why you want to fight that person, and you couldn't hack. And those were basically the only two rules. You couldn't hack, and you couldn't random kill, and that's it. Anything else was totally fine. So basically, the entire premise was that it was like a movie, but it was purely player. The story was purely driven by the players. So like the players would do anything. There would be like no script that you had to follow. The players would do whatever they wanted, and then however the game turned out, it's just the way it turned out, and admin's couldn't really do anything about it. Well, I'll get to why that's a lie a little bit later on, but I like the devs could do a little bit about it, but I still think it was a fairly mostly just player-driven experience. But there was a little bit that the devs could, there was a way that the devs could influence what we were doing. Uh, but anyway, getting back on track, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves right here. I think the event was pretty good. Again, I said I didn't do much. I joined a team called the Sultanate, which some of you people who watched season 1 You might recognize the name Sultanate from there, and it was led by the Sultan from season 1. The Sultanate in season 2 was also led by the Sultan from season 1, and sadly, yeah, he died. Sadly, our Sultan died once again. I think he died on like the 7th day or something. I think it was like 10 days total. But yeah, he died on like the 6th, 7th day or something like that. And yeah, it was pretty sad. I'll tell you why he died a little bit later. Well, actually, I'll tell you why he died right now. So basically, I joined the Sultanate. You guys who watched season 1 might remember the Sultanate, and it's basically the same here. So we were just chilling. We were just a peaceful little nation living on the oasis of the desert. And we were building our houses. We were building our buildings. We were going to build Los Pollos Hermanos, but unfortunately we couldn't do that. But anyway, whatever. we were basically just silly little desert guys, just chilling, you know. And for some reason, we actually had a lot of enemies ever since day 1. So actually, before the event even started, like, people were just making propaganda posters and stuff about why you should join their nations and why Sultanate sucks and why everybody should kill Sultanate and whatever. And a lot of those, I don't think any of those nations actually ever ended up attacking us. But the reason why Sultan died is because a player named Zomta, which you also might recognize from season 1, he wasn't evil, by the way. He wasn't evil, and I'll explain why. But he ended up being the one that killed our Sultan, and it was not for evil reasons, believe it or not. So here's why he killed our Sultan, right? He saw the situation like this. So he saw all the propaganda posters that were circling around about how everybody was going to attack us and everybody was going to jump our Sultan and everybody was going to fucking kill all our men and destroy all our buildings and whatever. He saw all those posters and he saw the situation like this. We could either spend a ton of resources and a ton of men and a ton of shit and go kill all those armies and all of our enemies. And that will, of course, hurt us. That will, like, cut our population in half, if not worse. We would pretty much go extinct. There would be barely anyone in the Sultanate anymore. Or the second thing that he could do, the other thing that he could do, is just kill our Sultan by himself. And so he decided to go for option 2. So, one fateful night, we were just playing on the server, having a grand old time. We were just building buildings, chilling around, you know, doing whatever a normal Minecraft player does. And then Zamta and his boys, actually no, before that, the worst part about this whole thing is that I was there on that day on the server. I was logged in, but it was super late. As I said, I was in Europe, so I had to stay up until very, very, very late to play this event. So I was like, well, nothing interesting is really happening, and I did my workload for the day, so, you know, I'm just gonna log off and, you know, chill, go to sleep, and see what happens tomorrow if there are any updates. And, bro, I log off the server, and in the exact minute, like, I actually compared the times. I saw that I went to sleep, I think I went to sleep at, like, 12:37, and then when I woke up, I see a message at 12:38 by our fucking Sultan, and guess what our Sultan said? He said, I fell into the hands of people I trusted the most. My hair, you are in danger. So I literally went to sleep, and the exact minute I logged off, Zamta decided to attack our Sultan and kill him. And man, that was just fucking devastating. I wasn't even there to protect him. I mean, listen, Zamta would have probably smoked me. Like, let's be real. I'm not that guy, dude. I'm not that guy. I'm not that good at PvP. Zamta would have probably fucking smoked me right there, then and there. But I think I could have maybe, like, done at least something to protect your Sultan, you know. But yeah, it was really sad. So yeah, our Sultan got killed by Zamta, and Zamta only killed our Sultan because he didn't want any more conflict. He wanted all this conflict between the nations to end. And the only way it could end is for us either to kill everybody in the desert or for our Sultan just to die. And Zamta decided to go for the greater good option of just killing our Sultan. And yeah, that's what happened. And then Zamta and his boys that killed our Sultan escaped to another far away desert nation called Styria. And now Styria was kind of our enemy for a while. I think it was their goal to kill the Sultanate at the start, but then they kind of changed their plans. They didn't want to kill the Sultanate anymore and instead wanted to befriend us. But then Zamta and the people who killed our Sultan escaped to Ethereum, and they were chilling there, they were residing there, and at one point when they woke up and when they saw that the Sultan was dead, all I said in the general chat in their Discord server was that I wanted revenge. Okay, I wanted revenge, and our Sultan quickly jumped in. He was dead, but he quickly jumped into the Discord server and said that I shouldn't take revenge, that it's a bad plan, that I should just let everybody live in peace. But I was not about to accept that, dude. Like, our Sultan died, and I was not there to protect him. So I was not gonna let that slide, in the plain all terms, Uh, but they didn't really have a plan. Like, how was he gonna kill Syria? Syria was like one of the biggest nations in the entire server. They had like fucking 500 players or something. And actually, I don't think they had 500 players. I think they had like 200 or something, but they were still pretty big. They were like one of the biggest nations. So how was puny little me gonna, hurt Syria so badly? Well, I had a plan for that. So here's the plan. We made a new state. So instead of being the Sultanate, we were now called the Imamate. And we had two leaders. We had one called Outlying Chlor, and that not Chlor, Outlying Crow, and then another player, which I forgot his name. If you're watching this, I kind of apologize. But yeah, those two guys went to the Discord server and they DM'd me and they said, "Hey, do you still want revenge?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, I still want revenge." Like, our Sultan just died, so why wouldn't I? And so they invited me to this little Discord group called Nox Imperium. And here was our plan. So, our plan was to gather as much TNT as humanly possible, okay? And then I would be the one to sneak into Theria. I would like apply as a normal citizen, I would go into Theria as a normal citizen, and they would accept me as a refugee or something. They would give me like a citizen status, and it would all be chill, But then I would grab all the TNT that my teammates have saved up, and I would go into their meeting room while they're all in there, and I would sneak under their map, place all the TNT, and you can see where this is going. It would have been absolutely beautiful if that happened. And now you're wondering, if you really did pull this off, if you really did just trap and kill like a bunch of people from the most popular nation ever, why are you not gonna be featured in the video, as you said? Well, the reason for that is because the admins of the little event didn't let me do that, right? So I went to the Theria with high expectations. I gathered all the TNT. I dug out a little hole under their meeting room, and I waited for all of them to gather around. And all of them did gather around. And then we were like, "Hey, hold on a second. Since we're planning to do something really, really big, shouldn't we alert the admins of this and like get their opinion?" And tell them to like pull out their cameras and stuff. And so we did that. We went over there and told them like, "Yo guys, pull out your camera, something really big is about to happen." And then they were like, "Wait, you're planning to blow up Theria? Well, that's kind of cringe, isn't it? Like, you're just planning to blow up all these big, beautiful buildings that Theria has built?" And we were like, bruh, they literally killed our soul. Like, please, just let me have revenge, okay? And I pleaded with them. I begged them. I told them how great of a scene that would make in the final movie. And honestly, it probably would have made a great scene. I mean, imagine seeing Theria's hallways and like a day before there was a world war in this, by the way, and Theria was against Aculon. So hold up, let me explain the size here. So while we were doing all this, while we were planning to sabotage Theria, there was a big world war cooking. Okay, so there were two sides. There were the Aculans and there were the United Lands. And the Aculans were the bad guys because they killed the leader of some really popular nation that nobody fucking cares about. It. I mean, honestly, I haven't even heard ever about the nation whose the leader they killed. But whatever. Apparently, Aculon has from the snow biome, the guys from the snow biome called Aculon, killed the leader of some really popular nation, and now everybody kind of hates them. So they build up a really big building that kind of looks like the wooden fence. It's pretty much just a rip of the wooden fence, but it's like a little bit more advanced. They pretty much built a wooden fence version 2.0, which in this case was called the Iron Torch, and they decided to climb up on it. And people were preparing to go to war with them. And one of the people that were going to go to war with them was Styria. And honestly, Aculon wasn't really my friend or anything, but they were going up against Styria, who literally tried to betray the Sultanate and us. So I was like, hey, I'm going to join them. You know, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So I went over to join them, and well, actually, no. Before I went over to join them, I tried to trap these guys. Right, I tried to trap Theria and kill their leaders and their best PvPers and all that stuff, and kind of like turn the tides of the war at the same time while also getting my revenge. So here's how it went. We alerted the admins, and they said that we couldn't do it. We could not blow up their buildings, and we could not blow up them because they were just worried that. We were going to blow up the buildings and we were going to ruin everything, and it was all going to look ugly afterwards. But we offered, we had a couple of days after the big war where we could just chill and not have any conflict and not have any problems with each other. And we said, like, okay, well, if you're really worried about us just blowing up buildings, then we're just gonna go ahead and repair all the damage that we've done in the post-war days. And even after explaining that, they still didn't let us do it. So, in the end, we were just left there with a pile of TNT and really nothing to do with that pile of TNT because we just couldn't blow up the Therian, the Therian meeting room, you know. But honestly, I feel like if we were allowed to do it, I feel like it would have been so cool. I mean, imagine this, like, you know, when the video releases, it's probably going to be like really, really obvious that Theria and United Lands are going to win against Yaculon. But like, imagine this: like, you see Theria and United Lands with their huge ass army going up against this tower, going to the big Iron Torch and preparing to kill everybody inside of it. And you're like, oh yeah, like Theria is gonna win. Theria is gonna win this war, you know. And then all of a sudden, some random ass guy just comes into the Therian city hall and just places a bunch of TNT under the floor and blows up like 50 of the best PvP players in the entire server. Pretty much just entirely turning how the war will go. Like, like honestly, if that happened, I would have pretty much entirely turned the tides of the war. Because it would have killed the best players and the most armed players. I would have killed the Therian leader and his guards, who were like heavily armed and really good at PvP. I would have killed Zomta, who's obviously really insane at PvP, and I would have killed a bunch of other little goons, you know, who are maybe kind of good or okay at least at PvP. So it would have pretty much turned the tides of the war if it all went well. Which, of course, even if I was allowed to execute the plan, there was still a chance it wouldn't go well. But yeah, if it all went well, I would have pretty much turned the tides of the war, and I would have gotten revenge for the Sultan. However, I was not allowed to do it, as I already said. And yeah, that's pretty much where our plan ended. And so, yeah, we pretty much all just kind of left Imamate. Imamate was like a ghost town by the end of the event. So this whole, by the way, this whole plan, we were planning to blow up Theory and whatever, it was happening on day 9, which is the day like right before the big World War. And so it was pretty clutch. We had to, if we wanted to do this, if we wanted to blow up Theory, we had to do it now. And sadly, we weren't allowed to do it. So, you know, we just had this pile of TNT laying around and nothing to do with it. But yeah, anyway, we all left Imamate, we dispersed, and we went to war. We were either fighting for the Iron Torch and for the Akelons, or for Theria and against the Iron Torch. And so I went to Akelon and then went to the Iron Torch. And honestly, it was a pretty fun battle. It lasted about an hour, I would say. Like, yeah, the battle lasted for about an hour. So we had this big preparation time. We had like 30 minutes to prepare, right? So we were all flooding into the tower, flooding into the, what's called the winter base. And we all climbed up on the tower, and we listened to Elangulo give his speech and everything. And, yeah, we were just preparing to go to war. And so we were on the top of the tower. We gathered our resources. We took inventory. And we were ready. So basically our plan was the same as with Wooden Fence from Season 1. We were just gonna shoot down anybody who dared come up the Iron Torch. And spoiler alert, by the way, it didn't fucking work. The plan failed once again. The iron torch or the wooden fence or whatever you want to call it, it failed once again. And it failed in the stupidest fucking way possible. So here's how it went, right? So the roof, the iron torch went from the ground all the way up to building height. The building height limit. The inside was covered in lava, and on the roof there was also lava to refill your buckets with, and so that people couldn't climb over the iron torch. And yeah, that was pretty much it. That was pretty much the entirety of the iron torch. Oh yeah, and the floor was made out of stone walls so that you could shoot through them and hopefully kill somebody below you. And yeah, we were starting to shoot away. We were starting to kill people, and people were starting to kill us. They were slowly climbing up the iron torch, but I think we were holding up our own pretty well. And then I realized that there was a fatal flaw. There was a fatal, like the fatalist flaw that you could possibly think of that happened in the iron torch. So here's the thing. The iron torch had two levels, which he didn't realize. So there was like that big bulb at the top where all of our army men were stored, and from where we were shooting down onto the enemies below. But there was also a room below us, and that's bad because people literally, like our enemies, literally climbed into that room that was right below us, and they started spleefing us. They started digging the floor underneath us, and we tried to fight them off. We tried to pour lava over them. We tried to kill them, and I think we were pretty successful. But eventually they made it up, and one of them knocked me into the hole. And my shield was, we had shields, right? So our shields, we all had shields in this event. And our shields displayed the flag of the country that we were fighting for. And I was fighting for the Aculan. So I had a red shield with a yellow cross on it. And when I fell into the hole, my shield was facing the wall, so nobody could see my shield. So to an outsider, I was just looking like an average Joe, you know, who was fighting for Theria and trying to make his way up to the top of the Iron Torch. So even though I got knocked out, I could have still peacefully climbed my way up the Iron Torch and just continued fighting. But instead of that, I froze in absolute terror because there were like 5 billion people just looking directly at me. And I kind of slowly turned around, and I put my shield up, and everybody was able to see me fucking lacking, bro. Everybody in that moment saw me lacking. Like everybody was, like the entire world could see my Aculan shield. And I tried to fight back. I think I killed 1 or 2 guys when I was fighting back. Like everybody jumped me all at once, and I think I killed like 1 or 2 people. But I ultimately died because of that one stupid mistake. And yeah, that was the end of my story. And eventually, if you're wondering, Theria won. Theria and their boys won. And the reason for that is because someone somehow managed to sneak up our tower. And dude, our leader was Elangulo, right? Elangulo you might recognize also from season 1.5 or 1.7, right? So Elangulo was our leader. And he got killed in the fucking stupidest way imaginable. Like it actually fucking hurt my soul to see that happen, right? So there's this one spy who climbed up the Iron Torch, and he just went over to Elangulo, and he dug the floor under him. And Elangulo got spleefed, and he fell all the way out of the Iron Torch onto the ground, and he fucking died. And that was the end of our leader. Like, man, that just fucking hurt to see. Like, I think someone even got it on camera. Like, there was literally one guy behind Elangulo and the assassin, and he was just filming them. He wasn't even doing anything to stop it or help it or anything. He was just filming them. And he literally watched this guy spleef Elangulo, and he just filmed it. And he sent me the video, and when I watched the video, it fucking hurt my soul, dude. Like, that was the stupidest possible way that Elangulo could have died. But yeah, that was the end of the story for Aculan and for the Sultanate and for the Imamate and for the entire server, pretty much. So yeah, the enemies of Aculan ended up winning, and we ended up losing, and that was really the end. That was the end of it all. And yeah, then we had a couple of post-war days where we could just like all chill out, relax from the war, live in peace, and all that stuff. Since I died in the war, I wasn't allowed back into the server, so I wasn't a participant in those post-war days. but I still think they were pretty cool. And yeah, they were really interesting. I think the server eventually, like, this is not canon, and this is not going to be included in the video, but I think the server eventually got turned into like a Simon Says game or something, like on the very last day. I think that's going to be included in the video, but I'm just throwing that out there, you know, if you guys want to think about that. But yeah, that was pretty fun, and yeah, I'm a little bit sad that it really had to end like that. I'm sad that I couldn't do anything to turn the tides of the war. And yeah, my biggest regret, honestly, is not being able to blow up Syria. Because, like, imagine the scene, right? So you would have this scene of me just running into the hall, placing down a redstone block after, like, placing down all my dynamites and everything. And before anybody had a chance to react, it will all fucking blow up. And I would probably die in this explosion as well. So I would die in the explosion, and everybody else would die in the explosion. And then, like, um, the Syrian betrayers and the people who were always kind of against Syria would just rush into the pit, and maybe even the people who were helping me with this TNT trap would just rush into the pit and start killing a bunch of people in the pit. And honestly, it would have been such a brutal and fun scene to play out. But sadly, it never happened. So yeah, that's really my only biggest regret in this event. But other than that, I think it was pretty fun. I got to build a little bit. I got to have a little bit of fun. I got to see how it all works. I got to make a couple of new friends, and I think it was fun, despite me not doing anything. Again, I think the video is going to be a 10 out of 10. Like, Ish is definitely going to make something special out of this one, especially since he has been working on it for almost a fucking year at this point. But yeah, that's really it. That's all I have to say for the video. I hope you're all hyped up to see the video when it comes out. I think it's like 97% done or something. At least Ish says that. And yeah, that's really it. So see you in the next one.